Yeah, I think there are many moments, in life where you have crossroad moments. I call them like there's like the crossroad moments where you can either go this way and then that totally changes the trajectory of your life. So I've had many of those, of course, over my life. But I had one particular moment in November 2008, and that was a transformational experience. I will never forget that day and what I was doing, but I had a very powerful spiritual encounter. And when I had that very spiritual encounter, with God, I'm a Christian, is that was a moment. It was about a 10, it felt like a 20-minute, but it was probably less, conversation where I really was challenged to find my calling and purpose, which was to really help with human flourishing, help them to develop, help them to become better versions of themselves, whether individually or in an organization or in a system. So that was that moment when I think I started to awaken to my greater calling.
So-Young, describe that moment, first with you in that 2008. Where were you? What happened at that moment that, that awakened you, the passion inside of you?
Sure. So I was in Los Angeles. So I used to live on the beach, not unlike the view behind me. I used to live right on the Pacific Ocean, and so very inspiring. I love the beach and I love the water. So I was working for McKinsey at the time, and I don't know if you remember, but in the fall of 2008, we had a massive global crisis, financial crisis.
Yep.
So Lehman Brothers, all these banks and things were collapsing, and many people were losing their jobs. So many of my classmates and friends in the finance sector were losing their jobs. I was at McKinsey in consulting, and there was also fear that there was going to be layoffs, but there was just fear everywhere. And so the context of this was that people were holding on to their jobs as much as they could for fear of getting laid off, or there was a very, very topsy-turvy time. And at that time, I had already been given an offer. So I had an offer to join a hedge fund in Connecticut, one of the top hedge funds in the world. And so I was given an offer. So I was really comfortable because I had my offer. I was planning to resign from McKinsey and move on to this hedge fund. So that was my plan. And then this encounter happened, which completely disrupted all of my plans. So I was in Los Angeles, loving LA, considering moving back to the East Coast where I grew up around New York, Connecticut area. So all of that was what my plan was. And then that plan was disrupted through this really personal encounter. And that totally changed the trajectory of my life until now.